Welcome to the Kortex Media Podcast, Marketing Accelerator, your compass for navigating the dynamic world of marketing and business growth. I'm Korson Schmidt, founder of Kortex Media. Our mission is to equip marketing agencies with the custom growth solutions they need to unlock massive revenue increases and scale their business. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Joining us today is Elton Mayfield, the E in ER Marketing, bringing over 35 years of marketing experience to the table, and his agency is celebrating the 25th year in business. What truly sets ER Marketing apart is its origin story. Founded by former clients who were tired of agencies selling solutions rather than solving problems. This client-first philosophy has led to incredible longevity, with some clients staying for over 2 decades. Elton is also a national board member of the largest B2B Marketing Association, a judge for the International Builder Show, and author of Building Better Brands. Elton, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Korson.
Hey, no worries. So in that introduction there, I kind of touched on how it was founded by 2 former clients. You guys were inspired by the frustrations of working with marketing agencies and some of them failing to solve problems. What was the biggest pain point that you guys experienced being on the client side that helped you shape ER marketing and create the core philosophies that you guys have today, ensuring that client-first approach and remaining that central for ER marketing today?
Well, I think, when a client hires an agency, or whether it's a full-service agency or an even independent freelance person, they're looking for new ideas. They're looking for something different than they could do. And so I think sometimes agencies, we get, and we've even dabbled, we've floated over that direction at times too, where it's like, oh, let's show them this new cool thing. And it's like, well, that's not really what they need though. Mm-hmm. Yes, that is amazing. And there's a lot of, I think it's even harder now with AI, there's some really cool shiny objects out there. Yeah. But at the end of the day, really understanding what is their business, what is their challenge that they're really trying to solve. Because everybody has a business challenge that they are trying to solve. If they could do it themselves, they would do it themselves. The ROI of an agency is always, it's going to cost more than hiring a person. It's a team. It's a collective group of ideas. But for us, it's always been an approach of, what's their business challenge that we are trying to solve? And then let's try to help them solve that. Ideally, it's something we can do and help them with. Sometimes it could be that it is also a challenge that isn't something we do, but it's a business challenge they don't sometimes recognize. And I think it's also, when we were clients, we saw that a lot. And prior to, my co-founder, Renee, she and I both were clients. We worked together, but we also worked in other client companies as well. And we hired and in turn fired a lot of agencies because they were really good at a cool new idea, but it didn't really solve our problem. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to get excited about that too. So then you create a agency client relationship that doesn't really work in the sense of it doesn't actually solve the problems we have. It doesn't bring the solutions that we need and things like that. And so you get enamored with this cool thing instead of actually solving the problem, moving the business in the direction it needed to go. And so that was really the idea around when we left that, went, with the client side, went to the agency side. And we had worked at agencies as well, and so we had that experience. But just really, focusing on what the solution or what the problem is that they have. And it is. I mean, we can wrap it up into a nice, or we have a challenge. It's a problem.
Yeah.
It just is. And we can call it a problem. It's okay. It's something that needs to be fixed, changed, altered, or in some cases created, but you've got to solve what makes a difference. And so that was really where it came from. I think that, when you're on the client side, it's easy to get caught up in the shiny object.
For sure.
It's like, that I want to be cool. That's cool stuff. So you do that, and then you realize that really didn't change our business.
Yeah.
And so.
And yeah, you made a great point linking it to AI, because that is a big factor right now in a lot of businesses. A lot of companies might need to step in this space because you might be behind competition in your thoughts, right? So it's a great point there. And every company goes through challenges and problems, and there's a lot of different companies out there to find solutions. So if you are a company listening to this podcast, speak to a few different agencies, because everyone is going to, as
Absolutely.
long as they listen to you, they're going to give you different solutions to the problem. And then really narrow down on what is your actual problem. Like, sit down with your
Right.
team, figure out what that problem is, because every agency might give you a different solution, but one will give you the proper outcome. So I just wanted to
Correct.
expand on that point there, Elton. That was great.
But also, to that point, I would add talk to, I think it's as much the agency's thought process and actual, like, how did you get to this solution?
Definitely.
We're in the midst of, we have new prospects and RFPs, but when we're answering something, it's always, here's how we got to that solution or that idea.
Mm-hmm.
It may be wrong, but you can see how we got there. And we've had that multiple times where I understand how you got there, but you didn't know this little piece of information, or we can't do this, or there's regulatory issue. Okay, that's fine. But as opposed to just here's a cool idea. Well, that's cool. How did you? And we got lucky. And then sometimes it is. You have a cool idea, but you couldn't replicate it because they don't actually understand your business.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
No, that's another great point. Now, speaking on ER marketing, I know you guys do a lot. So can you give us a quick overview on kind of what's your bread and butter and just your core services as a whole, just for the audience members who are listening, who maybe are having issues with their specific company and they need someone to speak with, then they know exactly what you
Yeah,
do.
almost the entire history has almost all been B2B. We do some where it's called B2B2C. So it ultimately does go to a consumer, but typically work with business to business. We services have changed as marketing needs have changed through our history, but a lot of what we do today is around the digital ecosystem, which is pretty broad, but websites obviously to social, paid social, uh, lead gen from paid search to organic search, trade shows, things that are really working that B2B funnel. So creating awareness at the top and then trying to work, putting people into the funnel further down. That is what we do day in, day out. We still do traditional things like literature, brochures. Those are printed things. For those of you that, if you have a listener who's like, what's a brochure? I mean, we still need those. There's still a need for that. People want to take things at times. And so, but it is primarily, I would say, around the digital ecosystem. And, everything that we do is impacted one way or another, and that our clients do is impacted by AI. So we're doing more and more of that. There's some around AI. I don't want to say AI implementation, but looking at how could you use AI? How could we use AI? How do we work together with it?
Yep.
There's a lot of unknowns. Obviously, it's changing at a pace that's beyond anything we've ever seen.
Yep.
But I tell my team all the time, and we talk with clients about look at it, experiment with it. Don't ignore it. This isn't an ignorable topic. You've got to look at how could we use something like this? How would this help our business? How would it help our agency? How would it help our clients? So I think not being afraid of it, but recognizing that you have to be careful, only in the sense of, again, it can be a very shiny object. There's a lot of cool things out there.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, what have we done? You can't replace your teams with AI. You can't do, but you can automate and be more efficient and do things like that.
Yeah, it's incredible what you can do with it, and it's still so early and new, right? You can make your operational tasks super efficient, but as long as you're doing it properly, because a lot of people will take
Right.
into account of just solely using AI, not using their brain power at the same time, and it just ruins your work. Where you use both, leverage AI, leverage your brain power, and really build something that is really unique to yourself, leveraging ideas from AI at the same time. It's going to make it way better. And then AI in a more of a lead gen factor as well, and actually in hyper focus lead lists, or using it for your ad sets, or even building ads, right? Just even consulting with AI, because it has a ton of different ideas and it's always building its database. So it's definitely a tool that people need to leverage. You need to embrace, because it's not going to go away. You need to make sure that you are testing it, because it is going to be the future, and get used to it, because it's not something scary. It's something that can help you benefit your company, your business, your team, as long as you embrace it and really get in depth.
Hmm.
How are you guys
Great.
at ER Marketing using it for maybe your operational efficiencies, your marketing, etc.?
Well, across a number of areas. I mean, there's, the generative part of AI, which is where a lot of people started with. Certainly it can write, edit, do things around copy,
Yep.
images, video production now. It's impressive how quickly it's and how much better it is.
Yep.
There's yes, people throw out. I was at a conference last week where he's the head of enterprise clients for OpenAI, ChatGPT's parent. So he works with the biggest companies implementing and how do they implement and what do they work on. And, you know, he's, he reminded us that, ChatGPT's only been around for a little over 2 years. So again, think of where we are now. And, I've heard a lot of people when we say this too, this is the worst it will ever be. So is it perfect? No. Is it better than it was yesterday? Yes. Is it getting better? But using it, I use it a lot for ideation, just to brainstorm,
Yep.
or a second opinion. I've got
Yep.
something created, could just be a presentation, a Word doc. It doesn't matter. But I'll have it in um, I'll have it review it and say, what am I missing? Here's what I was trying to accomplish. Here's what I produced. What am I missing? Again, if I gave that to you, you would have an opinion.
Yep.
I may agree and disagree with some of them as well. And so, I think I think there's this, when I hear people kind of push back that, well, it does this and it's not, I'm like, name me an employee that does that.
Yep.
I'm not perfect either. Like I make mistakes. I miss spelling errors. I fill in the data and come to a conclusion myself.
Yep.
So it's not doing anything that we haven't done ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we're tolerant of, this is my hypothesis or what I think. So, but again, a lot around generative brainstorming, that, and I actually am doing that now where I've asked every person in the agency, think about their own workflow, their day,
Yep.
and challenge to find, test, and look into some AI tool. Can't be one of the big LLMs or something like that. Something we obviously it's built in, but thinking about what they do, whether it's project management, estimating. Um, we use voice recorders on meetings,
Mm-hmm.
and not that long ago, it was almost a full-time job to have somebody taking notes in a phone call.
Yep.
It used to be a phone call. Now it's a video call. I mean, however the call takes place, but you got to have notes after a client meeting.
Mm-hmm.
It's critical to have notes. Who's doing what? When did we say we'd have, meeting deadlines, all those things. I've got a voice recorder now of it, and a video. So I can go back and, it summarizes it, but I can also then revisit, it gives me a summary with hyperlinks to go right to that video spot. So I wasn't on the call, but I can review it faster. So these time saving things like that are all these operational parts of our job. I I describe it as the box stacking things. Like I have to move these boxes over here. We all have those things in our day in our life. Like it doesn't matter who you are. I've just got to do that thing.
Yeah.
Well, can I have that get done for me? Can I automate that somehow and check my work? So yeah, I don't want to say it is across almost everything, but we've had developers use it to help find an error in code.
Mm-hmm.
And then testing which platform and tool is better at that.
Yep.
Not writing the code, but like, okay, I got an error. Well, if you've ever done development work and it's, there's a lot of lines of code, whew, trying to find it, talk about proofing. I can't proof it because I'm not a developer.
Yeah.
It's all, gibberish to me. I have no idea what it says. So now if I'm looking at actual code, no idea. But it can actually run the error, the code. So, we're seeing more and more of that on the development side, the things like Lovable. And I mean, there's a lot of them out there now.
Mm-hmm.
So the video capabilities with, that's come out, and it,
Yeah.
wow, has it gotten better fast?
Yeah.
It's staggering. So I think that's the part where I really wanted people to, think about what you're doing and then what's a tool that helps you do that? And have that conversation with clients that are manufacturers, they're a distributor, they're a dealer, a lumber yard, they work in the B2B space, and like, here's 10 tools that could help you run your business. They're like, oh my God, I never thought about that. I'm like,
Yeah. And then now with this
yeah.
day and age with the automations, you can put them in something
Oh,
like N8N or Make
hmm
and link them all
there's
together.
workflows and
And
software. Yeah.
you have your agent doing everything for you, saving a lot of time, saving you a lot of
Well,
money,
that's
depending on what industry and what you're doing within your industry.
all the
But it's super
post-production work
beneficial.
of a podcast.
Yeah.
It was very labor intensive, right? To go back and transcribe it. Then you could now I've got transcriptions, I've got summaries. I mean, it does that's a lot of time that, to, we used to we still do a lot of video with clients, and it's typically we might get a B-roll or some footage from something they did. And it could be an hour's worth of video work. Well, somebody who has got to sit and listen to that hour. It might take them 2 hours to actually go through an hour of video. If you've ever done video editing, it's time intensive. Now I can run it through and actually get transcriptions. I can find the spots I'm looking. I don't even know, they're like, somewhere on this video is X. And you're like, great, I'll spend 2 hours just listening, hoping to hear the one word that they thought was on here. That's crazy. And then again, I'm old enough to have done, non-digital video and audio work, where it's actual reels. I mean, so it's just an evolution of what we've done too. I mean, it's just but the speed, I think, of our changes
For sure.
it is the frightening part, because it's wild how fast it's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
it's
anyway,
exciting at the same time for what the future's going to bring.
I think it is, and I'm an old guy who's like, wait a minute, this is can be transformative. I mean, I could probably get through my career without having to be wildly adoptive of this,
Mm-hmm.
just to be But I also have, that I tell my team, anybody, but I said, if you're going to be in this industry, really any industry, advertising, marketing, communications, you need to learn tools, or you're going to be at a disadvantage, whether you work here or not. You will be at a disadvantage,
Mm-hmm.
and you won't be able to catch up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we've had
So,
that conversation with a few other prospects on the podcast, and it all comes back to, if you're either going to be super boutique, as in only solely driven by a great, very impressive team, or you're going to be
mhm,
kind of mostly run by AI and maybe one or two very bright minds as well. So I feel like
mm,
that's the direction it's going to go. You're going to have teams of very, very bright individuals who are super smart with what they do and they have a huge reputation, or it's going to be a team of one or two people, maybe three, with these AI tools that can do so much work because they've trained them so well
mhm.
in what they are specifically doing. So my opinion on
Yeah,
the future, that's what I think, but who knows what it's going to bring as well. But
right,
get
right,
get relevant with these tools, use them, get your hands dirty, and use it as a different way of thinking rather than your traditional way of thinking,
right,
or just using the
right.
tool straight. So
Yeah,
um
asking, how would I do this differently? Just
yeah,
like,
yeah,
tell me I'm wrong, please.
yeah.
Find the flaws in what I'm thinking and doing. I mean,
Yeah,
how's that not? No.
yeah, just like I love what you said earlier, the opinion, right? Just getting a second opinion. It's no different than asking someone on the desk beside you for their opinion. It's just getting a
And if you're
different
a
opinion.
leader in an organization, embrace that, because, and again, I'm the leader in my organization. My team's not going to dispute everything I say.
Hmm.
And again, it's not me. It's just hierarchy and office and organizational structures. The good leaders I've seen on the client side, they're always like, you guys talk, I'll give you my opinion last. Because they know, once they say, I really like the red mug, guess what? We're going to get the red mug.
Yeah.
I mean, right? Like, I'm not falling on the sword with my boss. I'm not going to argue with him about, I really want teal or something. No, it's not worth it. So then you're stuck with one person's thinking as opposed to getting it all. So yeah, I think it's valuable in that regard too, to get another opinion that really doesn't care
Hmm.
that you're their boss.
Yeah. I want to go back to the point that I just made, and we kind of talked about this in our last conversation, was branding and how
Hmm.
that's really going to drive impact with these AI
Hmm.
agencies that are coming out, or more boutique agencies that are going to be
Yeah.
afloat now as well. What do you see branding having an impact on the marketing industry as a whole? Because I'll let you get into it. I'll let you dive in because
No,
I know you have
no.
some great
Well,
opinions on it.
Well, I think, we've seen this trend. Again, we've worked with startups and new companies, and a couple of years ago, we worked with a company that was refreshing the brand. They weren't rebranding, but they'd third generation, 70 plus years, needed to just modernize their brand. Okay. And that's typically, what maybe they would see it when the need arose. I think, to your point of, the agencies and are going to be, few key people, or, the people that you have need to be very good at what they do.
Yeah.
And that's my view, certainly, of where we're headed is, you have to be an expert in something. You need to be very good with the clients. Again, all those skill sets, you can't just be average.
Mhm.
And to me, average is AI. It's a hard reality, but I can get pretty good work from AI.
Yeah.
So if you produce pretty good, well, that's sort of hard. That's a hard challenge. But the interpersonal skills, the ability to have an opinion, the ability to do this and have a person face to face conversation, or be an expert on something and be able to talk to a client about it.
Mhm.
To me, that's where. And again, we work on branding with clients, and not just logo, but like how do what's your brand mean, your messaging, and all of the things that really go into brand.
Mhm.
And I think we'll see a resurgence of that. I'm actually speaking next month at a conference that they called me because they're like, they do a lot of trade shows, but they said you've spoke on something like this, and we think this is something our members, we didn't even have it a track, but because there's a unbelievable race to equality and commoditization of what services we provide and the quality that they are, because everybody can do this.
Mhm.
And now, to point, I could start an agency, and we see it. I call them pop-up agencies, and I don't fault the entrepreneurial spirit of doing it, but they have mastered how to use tools. They're not marketers, maybe, or they might be, but they're really masters of tools, and they're good at all the tools.
Mhm.
So they've got a team, and they can do things. They can get things done, but they may not know the industry. They may not be able to, when you talk to them, you're like, okay, let's get a call with your team, and they're like, well, they're unavailable, or they're different time zones. No, there is no team. Again, now they're managed by that. So again, that works in certain situations. But if you deliver a brand, and every business does, I don't care if it's a dry cleaner or $1 billion whatever, everybody, you deliver the brand, and ultimately a lot of it, it does come down to people. And because products and services are, I mean, we're not the only agency that can do what we do. Literally every agency can do this.
Yeah.
Our clients can do this. So what do we bring to the table? That's our brand. And
Mhm.
so, and it's interesting to see us come back around, because again, we started as well, the agencies that we were using when we were clients didn't really listen to us, and they didn't, they were trying to sell us other stuff, and they were doing these other things. So the customer experience wasn't good. Well, that's the brand, right? Like, I mean, the agencies I worked with, their brand was trying to sell me something I didn't need, because that's my experience. So,
Yeah.
I fly, a lot for travel, and I being in the center of the country in Kansas City, Southwest is the biggest carrier here, so I fly them a lot. They've talked a lot about brand, and they do that, but their brand experience is changing because the way they deliver their services, because of some things, it's taken some dings. So it's up to their people to deliver it in a way that, so I think the emphasis and the experience is going to be back. I think we're going to see some of the shift back to human interaction too, because we're getting further and further away from it.
Yeah.
And is it even real? The content we see online, I don't know if that's even, was that created? The video now, you look at it, you think, like, I mean, it's obviously, it's Bigfoot and Yeti talking. It's two dogs doing a podcast. It's obviously not real, but I can create an AI version of myself that looks and sounds just like me,
Yeah.
and it reads my, videos for me. So is that efficient? Is it weird? I don't know. I mean, all those things are happening, and they will happen. They're not going to. So,
Yeah.
but I can also go to a trade show. I was at a conference last week, and we're listening to people talk about AI. But he said, he's an executive with OpenAI talking about, he said, you're at a conference with 2,000 people. He said, we could do this virtually so much easier. But you flew here, you spent money, you're here, you have events, breakout sessions, you do, events in the evening, whatever. You do that because you want to have a human interaction. So that's not going to go away.
Yeah.
And I think all companies deliver their brand so much by their people, You can write all this down and put it on on mugs and things, but until someone interacts, that's what their experience is. And
Yeah.
so I think we're seeing more and more of this. And what's your brand experience? Okay, that just means what's your people, what's your interaction, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, and
That's
that's what people buy is the trust. They know, like, and trust. I mean, that's still true.
that's one of the biggest things in the industry as of marketing right now is trust, because there is so many different agencies out there, and a lot of skeptical brands as well, because a lot of people come in, they'll guarantee all this work, but they don't execute on
Yeah.
the work. And
Right. Right.
it's like you told me you were going to do this. Why don't you do it? Like, it's everything in general. There's a lot of scams out there. Like, even if you look on Facebook Marketplace and you go to buy a used vehicle, there's scams. There's scams everywhere, and that's
Right.
why no one has trust, because no one in this day and age can trust anyone with these tools that we have, with the personality people that we have. And it's just,
Right.
we've fallen so far apart from person to person that we have to have that extra layer of trust to work with some of these agencies. So like you said, getting in front of people personally, one on
Mm-hmm.
one with your brand, or getting on a stage at a conference, or putting content out there of you yourself, the CEO, speaking about why you guys are doing this or what you're doing, instead of having the content person, just to show that trust to
Mm-hmm.
to your clients and your prospects, and the world as well. So the great point that you made there, Elton. So I want to kind of turn this conversation more into the marketing side of things, and I love asking this question because it is a little bit dependable on the company, on what you guys are doing, on who you guys serve. But for marketing agencies, or agencies in general, or companies in general who want to scale their customer acquisition, there's plenty of different ways you can do this. You can go so many directions. And that's why I love this question, is because everyone has their own way of doing it. As of right now, Elton, what seems to be that number one go-to method for customer acquisition, whether it be your company or your client's companies?
Uh, ooh, for us as an agency, it is, I'd say, generic term kind of now, but thought leadership. So organic SEO, lots of content that we produce. Again, it's a blog. It's not me. It's but I mean, it's not a video, but that also works because people do still ask search engines. So
Mm-hmm.
we get more inbound traffic than we ever have. Lead form fills as an agency because our content's all very focused on what we do.
Mm-hmm.
We have proof of performance. It's not, I've seen, again, I don't mean to ding some people in our agency or our world, but there are people that, I've seen agency websites that I'm like, I'm not sure, do they even have people? There's very little client work,
Mm-hmm.
so we've got almost 1,000 blogs. It's, years of blogging, but also just, examples. And here's the work we did the challenge and how we solved it and the results. And so people can fairly quickly realize, okay, we're in this space. We understand what we're doing, and we've got proof of concept. Now, as generative gets better and better, I mean, it'd be easy to fake it for a while, but I think I think real clients figure that out pretty quick. I do think this idea of being able to genuinely answer a question and get on a call and help people and answer and do that is a differentiator, because it's easy to send them through the workflow. Again, the conversation that talked about workflows, and I've done CRM and workflows, and a long time. But to really look at a workflow, I think you have to look at what's your customer journey, what's your sales journey, what are people going through when they think about buying your product and service. And so as an agency, it's like, okay, there's pain points. Well, our content's all around the pain points that our ideal customers have.
Yeah.
So we have a lot around trade shows, events, uh, you know, organic content, but there are topics, and so we talk a lot about the things we do because that's what, like, I don't want, people don't need to find us because they, you know, something that is unrelated to us, packaging in the consumer space. That's not what we do, for example. But I think as a company, you have to really look at, okay, how do people come into our business? What are they thinking what's their intent? And sometimes we get caught up in just here we need a search ad, or we need a blog post for SEO or something, whatever, basic. Well, what's their intent at that point? And are we helping them with their intent? Not just, it's got all the keywords. And I think that's what people are going to see too, with this changing with more AI search, AI driven search versus traditional SEO. Because we talked about this at this conference, it's just a change in how an AI engine searches versus a human search, and what it's looking for. And it's very literal. And does it actually answer the question that they're finding? Not, yeah, it scores well on keywords. I don't care about keywords. Does it answer the question? And AI can actually find out if it answers the question and then give you the results. So being more thoughtful in, what are we trying to do? So when what's the best lead gen? I think it is a matter of, for us, we serve a lot in the B2B space. Our clients still have a lot of conferences, conventions. We do a lot of trade shows. I've got another one later this week. We serve the building industry, so everything around construction, housing. So there are huge shows that are 10,000 people to International Builder Show and Kitchen and Bath Show together is over 100,000 people. And it still is. So it's a multi-billion, trillion-dollar industry. So it takes a lot of people. You're not going to AI that out either. So again, that industry's, you're probably not you can't build a house with AI. You can improve processes and you can do things, but at some point you need people doing some things. And so what is that journey that somebody goes on? Where is their challenge that you're solving? And it gets back to, what's the business challenge they have? Because let's help them solve that. What's the pain point? And let's meet them where they're having the pain point. Because that's what they're trying to. I show up for certain things. We get a lot of traffic around how to do an event. Well, I'm not talking about birthday parties or an open or a new dentist office or something. No, this is more trade shows, but it shows up a lot of times. So I get traffic around that. I'm like, that's not what we do. Very quickly you figure that out, but I think it's understanding what is it that is what's the where are people getting caught up, where are people getting stalled, and then knowing what you're good at. Let's try to meet them where we can explain that the best. So is video the best way? Is it best to do? Does your brand work well on TikTok? Then be on TikTok. And again, I also test everything you can. Don't test 12 things at once, but test a couple, figure out a winner. Now test it again. Constantly work it through, some sort of, tournament of like, what's the best thing? There's obvious things you should try. Try those. Is one better than the other? They both work great. Keep them both. Try one more thing. But it's that shiny object syndrome again. We get caught up in, TikTok's got all this, like I hear that is not I'm not getting a lot of traffic for B2B marketers around TikTok. It's fun. It's fine. It'll go down a rabbit hole, and there's a space for it, but it's not probably the best for us. So I don't know that there's a perfect solution for anybody. It's what works for you based on what's the environment that people are going through, and how do I get, for us, how do we get the communication? How do we interrupt them? Because all these messaging, it's just nonstop. So I can have the greatest message, but I've got to get it in a point where you actually are receptive to it. And that may be, again, it could be audio alerts with, Alexa, because people use voice search now when they're, in the mornings. I don't know. But until I really think through, how do people find me? And how do they find your client? If I'm a client, where do people interact with me? Where are my customers at the most? That's why we still do a lot of trade shows. There's 100,000 people at the builder show. That's a lot of big builders. That's a lot of manufacturers. Everybody's there. Okay, that's pretty efficient. So I can find a lot of people at once. But I didn't really answer it because I don't think there's a clear. If someone says you got to do this, my guess is they sell you this, right? Great. Yes, McDonald's wants you to buy a hamburger because they sell hamburgers. They're not asking you to buy a car because they don't sell cars. Their messaging is usually because they want you to do something. So
and to build off that, anything can work for any company as long as just like you said, message it and get it to the right people. As long as you get it to that
Hmm.
destination, I think any channel, in my opinion, can work to scale acquisition. Whether you're doing email, whether you're doing meta ads, whether you're doing even just organic content, everything can get you in the right direction as long as you message it perfectly.
We do a blog, we do newsletters, email. We do a physical magazine on a quarterly basis. I print it. I don't put it out there digitally. Um, and we're smart about it. The articles are typically some of our best blogs
Mm-hmm.
that we reformat and put into a printed form. And there's industry updates, and this one's about AI, of course, because you got to talk about AI. But it's it is articles and some did you know, some facts and quick hits. Again, some people like this.
Yeah.
Not everybody does. I mean, some people are like it's not digital. Okay, do you enjoy flipping it? Maybe you enjoy PDFs with the sound effect of turning pages. There's still a number of people that when they get this, it also shows up in a physical mailbox.
Yeah.
How much physical mail do you get a day?
Yeah.
5 pieces? How many emails do you get? 100? So my ability to cut through with a printed magazine, way easier. So don't necessarily discount something also because you don't use it either. Does your client or the prospect or your audience or whoever you're trying, do they? Because again, I'm I'm sitting here saying, a magazine, but we've got clients that up until a few years ago, we did faxes for them. Some of your listeners may have to Google what a fax is or ask AI to explain what a fax machine does. But again, there's businesses that still use fax machines to this day, legal documents, but there's also offices and things. So again, just because it may not be what you use or like, oh, there's so much, it's a way more efficient method for me to email you this information. But guess what? It's going to get lost because you've got 100 or 200 emails that day. If you're traveling or you're behind, now you're just catching up and you're just scanning for the important and you're just regarding the rest. Well, you're going to see this and I'm going to stand out because of it. Well, that's all I'm at. I'm just trying to get you to remember who I am, right? Everybody is. It's a brand and whatever. Not me, but everyone is. So how do you stand out?
For sure. No, that's great.
So
I love that you kind of brought that up because it is different. You don't hear a lot about it. Looking ahead, Elton, for ER marketing, what is the pathway that you guys have for the future? Where do you guys want to be in the future? Do you have any goals that you want to hit over the next few years, or what does that landscape look like for ER marketing?
for us, we have typically worked with, let's say a larger manufacturer. So a company that makes products in your home. It could be anything from roofing, windows, doors, lots of different products, home elevators. And those are great traditional agency clients because they have constant levels of work. Through the years, we've also then worked with the local level clients. So the remodeler, the garage door repairman, the plumber, whatever, local home service companies. And they are the actual execution. In many cases, they are delivering the brand. These manufacturers are building these big brands, spending all this money. Well, I mean, big plumbing and, like you'll see faucets and kitchen cabinets or window brands that are out there. And they're spending all this money for their brand, and they should. That's a lot of awareness. It's the top of the funnel. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, the plumber that installs the product is really delivering the brand. Mm-hmm. So no matter what Moen may have done to get you there, it's the plumber actually puts the product in. And so we've realized that there's a lot of opportunity, I think, at that local level too, to help them elevate their game because they are skilled craftsmen. I grew up in a construction family. I have siblings that were contractors, a lot of respect for it. And so they're skilled craftsmen, but they don't necessarily understand the ecosystem of communication and marketing today because it is fairly complicated. You can't just do an ad in the local homes magazine or something. And so, how do we help them? So I think, but it connects to me. It connects our ecosystem. Mm-hmm. Anderson Windows is a big window brand, and they do a great job of building their brand. But at the end of the day, the person who installs the windows in your home is really delivering their brand. So how do they deliver the Anderson experience? Mm-hmm. Because that's who, so I think there's an opportunity to help connect those dots, from a business standpoint. There's a lot of activity around that. But also I think just evolving, we'll we'll do more business with less people.
Mm-hmm.
There's always the model of, we have more business, we need to hire more people. I don't know that that's always the case. We may be able to, we may be able to do more with the same team. And we have added people this year. We're growing. We're adding people. I've added people on the account side. I've added a designer. Yes, AI can do this, but we've actually added to our design team.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not a matter of replacing people. So I think there's still growth. I do think I think it's an opportunity for smaller agencies to be more nimble and adjust faster. The big giant agencies can't move like we can.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they also, we don't have the capacity that they do. So not really, we're not operating the same space, but I think from an opportunity and a growth, I think there's a lot of upside. This has been a good year. We're growing, we're adding clients, we're adding staff. I mean, I think there's an opportunity out there still. I'm not discouraged. My youngest is getting a marketing degree. So I'm like, I hope that there's still jobs for marketing people. But again, I think it's being smart with where we're at and putting our resources where it makes the most sense. But no, I think the growth is still there on basically every step of that funnel too, of awareness to brand building, events. I mean, so it's difficult to say we're going to be, we're going to double in size in 2 years or something like that. It's anybody talks futuristic. I'm like, I don't know what the future is. And again, I'm not not negative. It's just I don't know what things are gonna, what tools we'll have, what things we'll have.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
do I still think we'll need in-person events and do? Yeah, absolutely. That's not probably going away. Am I going to have a robotic roofer fixing my house? Probably not. There's still, I don't
No
think we're
question.
living in the Jetsons era yet, where
Yeah.
we have a robotic housekeeper. I mean, it could be done today. It's just the world isn't going to accept it, and it's just not cost effective.
Yeah.
Could we do those? Yeah. Could we get a hovercraft? Yes. Like all those things could be done. It's just scale. So realistically, that's not going to happen for a long time
For sure.
or ever. I don't know.
Yeah, for
But
sure. No, I love that, Elton. That's awesome. Finally, last question I have for you, Elton, and I love this question, is for young marketers, entrepreneurs getting started within this marketing space, this massive industry, what advice do you have for them taking their first step into the industry as an entrepreneur or as a marketer at the beginning of their journey?
recognize that you don't really know what you need to know. You may be great at one skill or another, or ask questions, find mentors. Always constantly ask the question why. I guess that's to people all that time. Like if you're just our newest employee, I say, if you're not asking me questions, why do we do this? Why is it done that way? I'm going to be concerned, because that's to me our first core value is curiosity, and that is, I think, one of the most important things. I started in school engineer, so I'd like 3/4 of an engineering degree. So I want to know how things work. I want to build them, whatever. But not everybody is quite that. I took everything apart as a kid. Not everybody's going to do that, but I do think being curious is, why do we do that? And asking somebody, I don't understand. Okay, explain this to me again. Have that conversation. Yes, you can ask AI, ask your coworker, ask your boss, whomever, ask the
Mm-hmm.
clients. Okay, so help me understand okay, so this is my understanding. Is that correct? And don't be afraid to make a mistake. That's how we learn. That's how humans learn. It's how AI is learning. I mean, but that's how we make mistakes, or how we learn is making mistakes and trying something. So to me, it's about, it's curiosity, and then, doing what you say you're going to do. The accountability is huge. I think there's a little bit of that is slipping, because it's easy, to your point of, oh, I can get this, and then, oh, well, they don't deliver to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's your brand. You just told me that I can't count on you. Okay. And it's because it will become more competitive and tough out there. I don't think it's going to be easier. It's going to be challenging. So, but again,
Definitely.
you can differentiate yourself, I think, a lot of ways, having this skill set, being able to talk to someone. And I
Mm-hmm.
see that with anyone that, I don't want to be the old grumpy guy on the couch or the porch saying, get off my grass. But I mean, kids today don't have the skill sets, and it's not it's just a function of how life has been for the last 10 years
Yeah.
or 7, or, certainly with COVID. I mean, it interrupted people's high school, college, first, there are
Yeah.
people that hadn't, they're 27, 28 maybe, and they haven't really ever worked in an office very much. Like they never had to work around coworkers.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a lost skill. Your environments are different. So put yourself out there to go meet people, not like from a dating, but just like your professional, personal skills. Like go to a chamber. I don't know what event is in there, but like go talk to people because that is a lost skill for
Yeah.
sure. And again, it's just I think it's environmental. It has been. There's no need to. I had to go to work. I had to talk to people
Yeah.
because that's where work was. Now you don't have to.
Yeah.
And we didn't do video calls now every call is a video call, so you can do this. But again, pre-COVID, we didn't do a video call very often. It was available. Everybody's like, I don't want to do that. I can't do that. Now it's assumed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, they change, but you're still talking to someone, even if it is on video. I mean, so
Yeah. No, that's a
well,
great point, and I like that as well. Being through high school when COVID was going on, and having that disconnection from other people, from your classmates, your teacher, from people in general, and being
mhm.
isolated, it affected us all. Even the people that weren't in school, it still affected
Oh yeah.
everyone. Not being out
Hmm.
in public, having conversations, and and building yourself up as an individual. So, Elton, that's a great point, and I just want to thank you for coming on the podcast. You've got a ton of experience, a ton of knowledge, and it's been a pleasure speaking through this, picking up some Easter eggs myself, and I really hope the audience does as well because you are a true leader and you have a ton of knowledge. Do you mind giving us more information on where people can find you if they want to get a hold of you? Maybe speak a little bit more about the conference you're speaking to in a few weeks. Just so if people want to come out, maybe they're in the area, they can come see at the conference. Your website, socials.
Yep. The website is ermarketing.net. Uh, on social, Elton Mayfield. You can find me on every platform, which is my name. Benefit of a unique name. This is my grandfather's name. So I don't know a lot of Eltons, but Elton Mayfield on virtually all the platforms. Um, Conferences B2B. So again, a lot of them are either remodeling, construction, pool building. This one is around the commercial cleaning and maintenance, so fairly specialized. But if you're at that, that's coming up it's in Vegas here in like 3 weeks. But uh, most of that's the other. There are associations out there too. Join with some of those.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, ermarketing.net is our website, and then Elton Mayfield on again any of the meta platforms or Pinterest,
LinkedIn.
X. I mean, like I just heard X is turning their AI or their algorithm to Grok, so maybe it'll just become Grok. I don't know, but these are all changing. So
Yeah, yeah. No,
so
Elton, thank you for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
okay,
Um,
you bet,
thank you again.
you bet. Have a great day.